afternoon, for this session, we will be talking about functions. Now, I am gonna relate functions to relations later. Now, what is a function? George, can you read the definition of function, George? Okay, so take note of the definition. A function is a relation. That's why I mentioned a while ago that function is related with relation, because function is a relation all the time in which each domain, meaning the x value or the input, has exactly one range, the y value or the output. Let's discuss, let's expound this more. I'm gonna be presenting to you the first kind of relation. Diba? This is the first kind of relation. This is a one-to-one relation. And we had this one already with our previous lesson. So take note, I have assigned 1 with 8, it's here. 2 with 2, it's here. 3 with 4, 4 with 10, 5 with 6. You can see that as well in our table of values in ordered pairs. Now, this is now my question. Is this a function or not a function? That's my question now, section Quartz. Is this an example of a function or not a function? Now, balikan ha. I am gonna go back with the definition of a function. Let's go back. A function is a relation in which an x value has exactly one y value. So x value has exactly one y value. Let's go back to our example, to our mapping. The number 1 here is assigned to exactly one value in y, right? Is it true or false? Yes, it is. Correct. What about the number 2? Is it assigned to only one value in y? Yes or no? Yes, it is also assigned. What about the number 3? Yes, it is. It's assigned to exactly one value sa y. It's 4. What about the number 4? Exactly one value in the y, in the range. What about the number 5? It's also a yes. Now, so since all of you said yes, therefore, this is a function. So a function now is simply, look at this one. Look at the x value. I will be referring only to the domain in looking for a function. If I'm going to identify whether it's a function or not, I will only look at the domain, the x. Look at the x here. Are there repetition of numbers in the x value? No repetition. The same thing with the x here in your table. There is no repetition of the domain. Therefore, this is a function. Okay? And take note, a one-to-one relation is always a function. So take note of that concept. Is this example clear? Okay, let's continue. Let's have many to one now. Let's examine. Is the number 1 assigned to exactly one value in the y? Balik ha ang question. Yes, awaragot. Oh, the number 1 is only assigned to one value, the number 6. That's the point. Yes. What about the number 3? Is it assigned to one value? Yes, it is the number 6 again. What about the number 4? Is it assigned to one value? Yes, it is. What about the number 2? Yes, the number 5. Yes, since all of your answer is yes, so this is also a function. Let's examine the x value. Look at the domain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is there repetition in the domain? No repetition. No repetition in the domain. And just like what I said a while ago, when we are determining a function, we will be looking at the x value only. There is repetition in the range, 6, but it's okay. Because our focus when we identify function, it's in the x value man. It's okay to have repetition in the range. Is this clear, section Quartz? Okay, so again, a many-to-one relation is a function. Next one. This one. This is now my question. Is the number 2 assigned to exactly one value in y? No. Look at the number 2. It is assigned to 3 values. The number 2, the number 6, and the number 8. Therefore, this is not a function. And look at our ordered pair. Is there repetition in the domain? Yes, look at the number 2. The number 2 is repeated. The number 2 is repeated in the domain. Therefore, this is not a function. So is everything clear now? Okay. Now this time, there is what you call a vertical line test. A vertical line test, Zed, can you read the vertical line test, please? Okay, so take note, we will be using a vertical line test to check whether the graph is a graph of a function. And when can you say that it is a function? If the vertical line intersects only once. Because if it will intersect more than once, it is not a function. Okay. To expound that more, let's have this illustration. This is an example of a graph. If we call it a vertical line, because we will draw a vertical line there. Now, this is my question. How many times did this vertical line intersect this graph? When I say intersect, nagsugat sila sa graph. Asa man daraay kini? What do you mean by 2? Is it 1 or 2? Look at the graph. Do not look at the x or the y axis. I am referring to the graph. When I say graph, it's I'm gonna use this one. Okay. Diba this is the intersection? This is the intersection of the vertical line and the graph. Ang graph nato kinimang red part. The graph is the red line. How many times did it intersect with the vertical line? Where is the second point if you're gonna say 2? Once only. Tanawa oh. I'm gonna draw another vertical line. How many times did it intersect the graph? Where is your why twice? Why twice? Take note, the red line is your graph. Oh, okay ni, usa. Asa mo ikaduha ninyo? Where? Kini? Where is the second point that you are referring to? Do not count this anymore. Ang is one line, you count the number of intersections. Oh, I'm gonna draw another line. Oh, in this line, how many times did it intersect? Once only. I'm gonna draw another line. How many times did it intersect? Once again. So this is an example, or this line, another line. Once only. So you have noticed this vertical line intersects the graph only once. This vertical line intersects the graph only once. This one, kausa. This one, once. This one, once. And this is a function. Because the intersection of the vertical line with the graph is only once. Is that clear? Okay, let's have another one. Look at this one. I'm gonna draw a vertical line. How many times did it intersect? Once. Okay, once. I'm gonna draw another vertical line. How many times did it intersect? Thrice. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna draw another vertical line. How many times did it intersect? Thrice. 2, 3. What about another vertical line here? Thrice again. Now, this is now my question. Is this a function or not a function? Not a function. Kaya nga naman, because there are vertical lines whose intersection is more than once. Is this clear, section Quartz? Okay, let's have an exercise. Let's have identify. This is not kind of relation, okay? I'm gonna edit this first, ha? Sige na lang. I'm gonna edit this first. Identify. Oh, you can see the answers already. I'm gonna go back na lang. Sige, I'm gonna change the question. Identify whether this is a function or not a function. Okay? Again, identify whether this is a function or not a function. Okay? Let's have our first one. Is this a function or not a function? Why is this not a function? Which one is repeating? The domain. The negative one. So this is not a function. Kay there is repetition in our x value. So when identifying when identifying functions, look at, focus on the x. Focus on the domain. Next, this one. Function or not a function? Function, because there is no repetition. 3, -2, 2, -3, 4. No repetition there. What about our third example? Function gihapon. Why? No repetition. Look at this one. Look at the domain. No repetition in the domain. This is a function, ha? This is a function. Is this clear? Okay, this is a function. Next, what if you are given a table of value? Identify gihapon ni nato. Let's identify whether this is a function or not a function. Is this a function, class? Function, correct. What about this one? Is this a function? Not a function, because the number 9 is repeating and the number 9 is in the domain. What about this one? This is a function. Very good, very good. Now, let's have another one. What if I'm going to give you this? Is this a function or not a function? This is a... What kind of relation is this? What kind of relation is this? Is this one-to-one, one-to-many, or many-to-one? Sure mo, this is one to many? Tanawa, look at this one. Many to one. And a many to one is a function. So take note of that. A many to one relation is a function. We had that one already a while ago. Okay? This one. Is this a function or not a function? Function. What kind of relation is this? Is this one to one, one to many? One to one. Very good. This is a one to one relation. And a one to one relation is a function. Let's have another example. This one. Not a function. And what kind of relation is this? One to many relation. And take note, a one to many relation is not a function. Let's have more exercises. What about this graph? Is this a graph of a function or not a function? This is a function. Because if you're gonna draw, like I'm gonna draw vertical lines there, it will only intersect. Look at this one. How many times did it intersect? Only once. Only once. What about this one? Not a function. Look at this one. I'm gonna draw a line here. How many times did it intersect the graph? No. It's more than that. It's 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? If samutan ako, then if I'm gonna have this, you count. How many times did it intersect? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Correct. 6. Maunang this is not a function. What about this one? Not a function. Look at this one. I'm gonna draw a vertical line. It intersects 1, 2, 3 times. This is not a function. Okay? What about this? This is a function. Because if you're gonna draw a vertical line anywhere, bisag asa pa na nimo ibutang, it will intersect only once. Now, let's have practice exercises. Let's start with this one. Is this a function or not a function? Function. Very good. This is a function. What about this one? Is this a function or not a function? Not a function. This is a one-to-many relation. And take note, a one-to-many relation is not a function. What about this one? Is this a function? This is a function. Okay? Now, let's have more activities. Let's have this one. Okay. Letter A, the first set of points. A, function or not a function? Function. Letter B, function. Letter C, why not a function? Okay, there is repetition in the domain. Very good. What about this one? I'm gonna give you a table now. Number 1, is this a function or not a function? Look at the X. Not a function. What about number 3? Not a function. So take note in number 1, in the X value, the number 2 is repeating. Not a function. In the third one, the third item, the number -3 is repeating. So it's not a function as well. What about number 2? Not a function. The number 1 is repeating 4 times. What about the number 4? Okay, this is now a function because there is no repetition in our X. What about this? Is this a function? This is a many-to-one relation. A many-to-one relation is a function. Balik ko na ko ha. One-to-one, function. Many-to-one, function. one to many, not a function. Just take note of that, okay? Now let's have this one, this graph. Function, very good. What about, let's start with number 1. Is this a function or not a function? Function, because there is no repetition. You have noticed that. What about the number 2? It's still a function because no repetition in the domain. What about number 3? It's still a function. Number 4. It's still a function. Number 5. Why not a function? Okay, why not a function? Okay, look at the number 6. Look at the number 6. It's repeated. It's not a function. Okay? Number 6. What about number 6? Function. Number 7. Function. Number 8. Why not a function? Okay, -4 is repeating. This is not a function because -4 in the domain is repeating. What about number 9? Still not a function. Okay, let's highlight the repeating. Number 10. Not a function because -7 is repeating. Now, is everything clear? What about this? Function or not a function? Function. This one, not a function. So, that's how you